complete.
Stand by.
Jo and Lehmo's pop-up comedy
Gee, can we cue the laugh track?
on Gold 104.3.
It is Jo and Lehmo's pop-up comedy because the Melbourne International Comedy Festival is upon us.
It is indeed.
And for this evening's pop-up comedy, I'm a little embarrassed.
What? Why?
Well, Lehmo, I'm welcoming two of my heroes to the studio. Is that embarrassing? We welcome Paul Mcdermott and Tim Ferguson for our pop-up comedy.
The guys are here. Now, probably not the first time you've heard that, guys. That's a hero to someone.
Inspirational. Yeah.
Inspirational.
A lot of different words are used for the wonder that we've brought to the people of the world over 30 years of doing fine comedy.
Just to explain that I was an impressionable young schoolgirl and discovered Doug Anthony All-Stars and became quite obsessed.
Were you a groupie at some point?
I was
Jo?
such a groupie.
Yeah.
And, you guys are the reasons I thought, I'm going to go into comedy because you were hilarious and brilliant and you're back doing the shows again and new shows as well. And I'm really embarrassed. I don't know why. I'm just suddenly, I feel myself getting quite flushed.
Were there many groupies back in the day there, Tim and Paul?
No, there were no groupies. We never called them groupies. We called them citizens.
Of course.
Concerned citizens.
The other terminology was jokey, I think, for a while.
It was
yes.
jokey. And
yeah.
I called myself a jokey when I was in Year 12.
Right
and
there.
I was the only one in my year that got their licence in Year 12 because I was a bit older and I used to drive me and my girlfriends around to see your gigs, which,
Oh, man. Did you own the car?
No, it's my mum's car.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It was, back in the heady days. What do you mean? It was a very rock and roll period for Doug Anthony All-Stars, back late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, certainly. When we were over in Britain performing, there were a lot of people there, a lot of the entrepreneurs at the time that were backing the comedy industry, which of course has just flourished throughout the world. This was the period where rock and roll was going to go from the clubs to the stadiums, and it's certainly done that over the years.
Yeah.
It's gone pretty big.
We took comedy from the clubs into, the venues where rock and rollers used to play.
Yeah.
Which meant you'd get as many as you want in there. We'd sing a couple of songs, so it sounded like we were rock and rollers, and then we'd, add the usual filth.
Yeah.
We invented a new lifestyle. Eddie Izzard told us it's a lifestyle of comedy rock and roll stars.
Yeah, but back in the day, I did hear that there was fraternising. Not with me, I was too shy and embarrassed, but there was fraternising between you guys and the groupies.
Really?
I heard.
Really?
I heard. There were rumours.
Oh, the rumour mill's rife.
Was it true?
I don't believe there was much fraternising.
No.
It could have been that other fella that was with us. The guitarist was pretty keen on stuff, but
Yeah, he was crazy. We couldn't hold him back. He was a madman.
Tim and I were studying to be Buddhists at the time. We were monastic in our existence. We kept ourselves away from. We wanted to be observers rather than participants in life.
That was through your Buddhism phase.
We'd have a party which was just a good meditation session.
How to really get down. You mentioned Eddie Izzard before there. I mean, Eddie Izzard is a bloke that you got to know way back in the day, long before Eddie Izzard became famous. Is it true that he used to collect takings for you guys when you were busking?
Yeah, he was in Covent Garden, which has a whole little criminal business element running the busking. And he was there, he was just hanging around. He'd do his little shows and there would be magic stuff that he used to do. And then occasionally he'd grab the hat and go round. They call them bottlers, and they go round and, collect the coins for you just in case some Italian tourists try to escape without paying.
And the thing is, with Covent Garden, it's so organised. When we were doing our shows, we'd get out there and perform for, 25 minutes or half an hour or something. And at that stage, it was full energy for that half an hour. And really, what you do in Covent Garden is you just spend the entire time building up your audience, do a short stint of like 2 to 5 minutes, and then you milk them.
Yeah,
So we'd got it. We were doing it all wrong, and they came up and afterwards and said, "You don't know the business. You got to know the business.
Too much content.
Too much content. Too much energy. Too much energy expended.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to know the business, boys. But Eddie Izzard collecting the money for us.
There we go. Well, they know the business now because you're going to have to pay for your tickets before you can get into the main town hall to see the Doug Anthony All-Stars On the 1st of April or the 2nd of April, the two shows, Reunion, Rebirth, their near-death experience. Tim Ferguson and Paul Mcdermott, don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly.
Jo and Lehmo's Pop-Up Comedy.
It is Jo and Lehmo's pop-up comedy because the Melbourne International Comedy Festival is upon us. Please go and see lots of shows and the small shows as well as the big ones. But probably for me, one of the picks of the festival is the Doug Anthony All-Stars because I've been a huge fan for a very long time. So we're joined by Tim Ferguson and Paul Mcdermott. You guys have hit the road again after a very long absence. And yeah, I don't want to emphasise how long it's been. How long has it been?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
That's certainly. But I had a career going.
Yes, you did.
For a long time, and now this has arisen once again, and there's a lot of joy out of touring with the fella in the chair and the new guitarist.
Yes.
So it's a lot of fun, and this year we're going back to Edinburgh and back to Britain to do some shows in London and Edinburgh, which will be great.
Is Edinburgh the place where you first really stamped your overseas, your arrival overseas? Was it Edinburgh where you first went, yep, here we are?
Yeah. Edinburgh was the first place that that really took us to their hearts. We went in there as buskers. We didn't even have a show when we first
is that
arrived,
right?
except for the last week. We had a week of shows at 12 o'clock, which is like the worst time, 12 o'clock at night.
At midnight, yeah, right.
Midnight, on the last week of the festival. But we managed to get shows in the previous 2 weeks of the festival. We worked all the time. We did a lot of busking. Busking was where we sort of managed to grab our audience, and we had that facility because we started off as buskers. So we were just out on the streets all the time, just grabbing people's attention, giving them flyers.
What are your thoughts on modern day buskers? Like Melbourne, I love walking through Melbourne onto sunny, Saturday, Sunday afternoon. There's buskers everywhere through the city. What do you think of the standard of our buskers these days?
Got to say, I don't approve of the fact that you need to have a license.
A license?
to
Oh,
busk.
we're rebels.
Yeah. What do you need? A license to go shopping? A license to jaywalk? Everybody should have a jaywalking license.
Yeah.
Yeah, your problem is, though, if you have too many buskers all lined up next to each other, that's just going to sound ugly, isn't it?
Well, that's where it will sound ugly. A lot of them just aren't bad. A lot of them don't have Paul Mcdermott singing songs.
No.
Voice like a meadowlark, ladies.
Like a drunken angel.
But you get this in a lot of free societies where you have the buskers brawl. When when a society's too open, you get the buskers brawling all the time in the city. It's a nasty look, especially the mime artists and the attacking the Chilean pipe orchestras and the bagpipe players having a go at each other.
It can get really ugly. Sadly, that's when they get most of the money thrown at them.
What about those guys that just freeze? I don't know about them.
Oh, yeah, they're a menace. I mean, you're walking down the street and you see somebody go, "G'day," and you get no response at all.
Yeah.
Just because he's got a silver face, he's supposed to be rude.
It's true. I saw the dude who was, I think the silver-faced dude, had a big fight with someone, and then, like, in the street, and then he came storming into the bottle shop next to the post office and bought just one beer and sculled it in front of me and then went back to work, and I thought...
Did all of that happen really slowly?
That's way too much movement for a silver-faced dude.
Yeah, they don't do well in the fights.
No.
The statues don't do well in the fights.
No, you can really see it coming.
Especially if you attack them while they're in character. That's the time to get them, when they're standing on their plinth.
That is the time.
Knock them off their plinth.
The guy who does the robot moving, like really, it's no longer robot.
No, it's true.
Well, it was either that or accountancy, so I think he's done well.
He's done all right. Tim Ferguson and Paul Mcdermott. Don't go anywhere. Their shows Reunion, Rebirth and Near Death Experience at the Comedy Festival. Tickets available through Ticketmaster. We'll be back very shortly.
Jo and Lehmo's Pop-Up Comedy.
We're talking all things Comedy Festival over the next few weeks at this time, every night till Thursday nights.
Yes.
I should know that, ladies.
Yeah, it's 4 nights a week. Monday through Thursday.
That's right. So I'm well researched. We welcome again Paul Mcdermott and Tim Ferguson, who are with us this evening. They of the Doug Anthony All-Stars. You can catch their show on the 1st and the 2nd of April at the Melbourne Town Hall.
Now, we're getting you guys in here because, we do breakfast radio. We can't see all the shows that we would love to see during the festival. So we thought, why not bring the comedians to us? Stroke of genius, we believe, on our part. Do you, too, I know a lot of some comedians like to see as many shows as possible during a festival. Some find it difficult to watch shows because they just want to focus on their own gear. Where do you two sit in that thing? Do you get a highlighter out and mark all the shows you want to see?
Oh, yeah, I try to see all of the shows I can, but they don't let me in.
Have you offended them all?
I just refuse to pay. Apparently that's something about the bargain. It's like, come on, I know that guy is just going to be talking.
That's not just the comedy festival. That's everywhere.
Yeah, well, yeah. I couldn't get in McDonald's yesterday, but love or money.
And I don't care about anyone else but myself, so it's a very,
It just frees you up. Got a lot of
I
time.
can't be bothered with all that malarkey, all that comedy stuff, all those new ideas and thoughts. Who wants to see that? All those young people coming up through the ranks.
Oh, they're annoying, aren't they?
They're so annoying because at some point they're going to have their eye on whatever you're doing, and you're just going to be a heap of bones at the side of the road as they keep running on with their fine, strong limbs. It's upsetting.
It makes me sad when I go to comedy clubs these days and I see some 20-year-old being super edgy and smart and cool, and I just go, well, that's...
You know what we've got to do? Comedy brawls with the old fellas, just scrapping it with the young
Yes.
people. Just knocking them about, knocking some sense in them.
Oh, there's a show for next year's festival.
Yeah.
I'm taking ideas from Trump at the moment.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Trump?
I think he's got great hair.
Yeah.
I think, Pantene is going to be very happy if they get that contract over the next few years. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I prefer simple solutions to complex problems.
Yeah.
Because I can understand that. And when you've got a nuclear arsenal, you watch. People will start to say, yeah, okay, Donald, I think you've got a point.
Yeah.
Can you keep away from the button?
Because if you say something often enough, people will just believe it. Like when he said, I'm going to have a great relationship with the rest of the world. We're going to get on really well. It'll be terrific. I went, oh, then
I was there.
fears allayed.
I was like, woo, we can all go to sleep now.
Who tells the Pope off? I mean, who tells the Pope off?
But what was ridiculous about that is the Pope ended up apologising to Donald Trump.
He's always confessing something.
He's a
that's the thing.
Christian.
I know. It's just outrageous. Well, we have got a game to play, guys. We have got a game to play called Identify the Story. It's a pretty literal game title.
Is that you had a different title?
I had a different
for it
one yesterday. I
last
can't
night. You
remember.
what it
we
is.
change it every day. You need to identify the story behind the headline. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly with Tim Ferguson and Paul McDermott.
Press play. Jo and Lehmo's pop-up comedy.
In time for the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Look what we did. Brought it together.
Yeah, yes.
Brilliant comics and our pop-up comedy show.
That's a stroke of genius on our part, Jo.
I know. So we are welcomed again by Tim Ferguson. We welcome Tim Ferguson.
Welcome, Joe. Welcome, you, mate.
Thanks for having us.
Paul McDermott. Yeah.
You're both, welcome to you both.
Thanks for having us. Now, the NT News, there's a newspaper that we love. And we'd like to play a little game at the end of the show here where we give you a headline from the NT News.
Yep.
And we ask you guys to try and identify the story.
This is a game possibly lifted from Good News Week, Paul. So,
Okay.
we don't claim to.
We
have
stole all that
created
stuff
this.
as well.
Yeah. Everything's been done somewhere, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So the headline of this particular story is Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, this is about the double dissolution. I definitely think that's on the cards, and another subtle reference to the double dissolution that's happening at the moment. Yeah,
All
clearly.
right. You're saying, Tim?
Yeah, the government's falling apart, but also because the tongue of a crocodile was found to have licked the Premier of Queensland. She said, "Who did that?" And they found the tongue that licked her.
And it belonged to a crocodile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hannibal the crocodile.
Yeah.
What's the noise a crocodile makes again?
There most definitely is a crocodile count in the NT News.
Yeah, well,
There's a lot
they've
of-
admitted as much. Yes.
Yeah. If you've toured to Northern Territory, I'm
Oh,
sure.
indeed, yeah.
And how did that go?
It was great. We loved it. The audience was wonderful, understanding.
Did you do?
Understanding?
Great nights out, actually. Wonderful evenings of fun and frivolity.
It's definitely good beer drinking weather. Did you do a croc tour, by the way?
No, I didn't do it. Did you?
I didn't do anything to her.
Hey! Oh, wake up, everyone. You could be writing for the NT News.
It's my dream.
I didn't do anything to her. Did you get that, people?
Hannibal Lecter You're both wrong, sadly. Hannibal Lecter is the story of Roxy the Shih Tzu, who was biting so many people that its owner had to put a Hannibal Lecter-style mask onto the dog to stop it from biting people.
Oh,
Not so much a muzzle. The owner went for a Hannibal Lecter-style mask.
Yeah.
not the double dissolution? Are you sure about that?
it
Not
wasn't.
the Turnbull and the... Really?
Unless there is a twist that I haven't got to in the story yet.
Could well be.
I did stop halfway.
No.
Oh, that would be
Through
good if there's a twist. I'm expecting a twist now. Is there a twist?
There's no twist.
Oh.
Got no twist.
That's a
no,
bit...
no.
There's no twist.
let's let it down a little bit.
Roxy the Shih Tzu is running for the seat of
Yeah.
New England against Barnaby Joyce.
Oh, the twist is she likes to wear a pink dress. They've put her in a pink dress.
I'll put her in the mouth of a crocodile. And it'd all come together, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. It would.
Complete the circle.
How could you do that to her?
Yeah.
It puts the lotion on its skin or ends up in the NT News.
There it is. The shows are called Reunion, Rebirth and Near-Death Experience. Get along and see the Doug Anthony All-Stars at the Comedy Festival, April 1 and April 2 at the Melbourne Town Hall. Tickets available through Ticketmaster.
So there's two different shows.
Two different
you could
shows.
go and see two different shows
Yeah.
night following each other.
Reunion Rebirth, I think
Yes,
you saw
I
at
did.
Yarra.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. What a great show.
I wept. I
And,
mean, it's funny. It's super funny, but somehow it was very moving.
It's
as
very
well.
moving. It's
I
very.
loved
We
it.
try and tick all the emotional categories.
Yeah.
And we decided to do the Near Death Experience, which is the new show, because Tim is running out of time. I can't stress this enough. If you want to see him, ladies and gentlemen, see him this year, because there may not be another comedy festival for him. We love him, but
Buy a T-shirt in the foyer.
and get him to sign it, because who knows when he'll be back? Who knows? Who knows? So time is running out. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Paul McDermott and Tim Ferguson.
Get those tickets.
Do you have anything to say to that, Tim, at all?
Time is running out.
Well, we hope to see you at the 2017
Yeah,
Melbourne International Comedy Festival, but we'll definitely see you at this year's Paul McDermott, Tim Ferguson. Thank you.
Thanks, Lima.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Joe.
Joe.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Joe.
guys.
Jo and Lehmo back in the morning from 6 here at Gold 104.3.